the fastest quarterback you've never seen. I'll be right back. There's no quicker way to get into DFS. Play Super Draft today and see for yourself.
We're behind. They're all fired up. What we got to do? First place, our defense has got to go out there and take the ball. Then when we get the ball, we got to have 11 people that's going to do their job and try to score every time you get the football. If we do that, we'll be all right. That will be all right.
If you want that smoke, ladies and gentlemen, you're in the right place. Welcome to CTS Sports Room. Before we get started, I want to take care of some business. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. Every time you subscribe to the CTS Sports Room, angel in heaven becomes an Alabama fan. That means less Auburn fans in heaven. Second thing I want to go ahead and tell you right now, we just got some breaking news out of Carolina. Sad, very sad news. I can't even pull it down right now. There we go. There it is. The Carolina Post just recently posted that Christian McCaffrey just tore his ACL. So that's bad news for Carolina Panthers. Come to find out, he tore it while reading about the Baker Mayfield trade. So, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Shut up. Somehow you got me on that. I'm not even going to talk about this.
Rise up, go Falcons. Anyway, tonight's going to be a big show. Big show. We got former Clemson football coach, and some people don't know this, former Alabama coach, Tommy Bowden. Tommy Bowden's going to be here tonight. Also, former defensive lineman, Daniel. I already messing up live. Former linebacker.
Here we go.
One of the hardest hitting people ever to lace the pads up at Alabama, Marvin Constant, is going to be here tonight. So it's going to be a big night tonight, and we may even have this guy right here. He's going. I don't know. He hasn't returned my message. David, if you're watching, come on. So please,
Please.
But no, we're gonna have Tommy Bowden on tonight. We're gonna have Tommy Bowden. We're gonna have Marvin Constant, and of course, this guy may come on. I don't know.
There's 5 guys in the picture. There's 5 guys in the picture. Which one? Yeah, there we go. See, somebody even said it.
It's David Daniel from the
There
2000.
we go.
Well, I just want to see what's going on right now. Let's see. Week, so let's see what we got. Let's see. Nick Saban Jr. Roll Tide. Roll Tide, Nick Saban. Spencer, what's up? We got Spencer the Boss Roll Tide. Just a bunch of stuff going on here in the chat room.
Harmony. It's Christian.
Where's Nick
Evil.
Satan? I don't know. Nick Satan. Where's the haters at? That's what
Well, the beer cans are in my fridge.
Rock, your buddy. What's going on? All right. So yeah, we got a lot of people here, guys. Waylon calling me a dumbass.
Yeah, that's new.
Yeah. So anyway, good stuff. Justin Riley from the CTS, from the CTS, from the TDA show, the Bama Standard. His co-host Marvin Constant is going to be on tonight. So yeah, it's a big show. So Jonathan, what's going on in the Alabama football news right now?
Well, the big thing that I want to start off with, you know what? I'll start with this. Number one Juco player, number one wide receiver, right, in Juco, Malik Benson did commit to Alabama, adding to the class and making them jump from 21st all the way to 8th, but now slotted at 9th as Penn State made a small surge. But other than that, I mean, considering the fact, I don't know if you guys have researched Malik Benson, probably not. This guy is going to add to Alabama's wide receiver room. Extremely fast, extremely good route runner. He is kind of on the smaller side as far as height goes. But, man, we are stacking speed on speed on speed at Alabama at this point. And, look, the prerequisite for Alabama QBs now are essentially, can you throw 70 yards, because you're going to need it with the speed at wide receiver, considering you're bringing in Malik Benson, Isaiah Bond, Kendrick Law, JoJo Orals there. I mean, look, guys, this is so deep and ridiculous at speed, and adding Malik Benson is pretty much unfair at this point. And I'm not even getting into Tyler Harrell yet, who came over from Louisville, who runs a 4.25. So, yeah, this guy is a track star. Great get, Alabama. He's gonna have a bright future at Alabama is all I'm gonna say. He's definitely a big get, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's where we can start.
Have you ever seen a recruiting class like this at Alabama?
Like this? I mean,
come on. We pretty much guaranteed the national championship this year.
Shut. I do believe we're going to win the national championship this year. Not as a homer, but who we have. Yes, I do believe that. I do believe that this recruiting class secures up the next 3 years that people keep talking about of, what's Alabama going to look like in 2 to 3 years if Nick Saban retires, blah, blah, blah. I think pretty much all of this is out the window. And by the way, guys, in case you didn't know, Steve Wiltfong, who's obviously a recruiting analyst, the top recruiting analyst, in my opinion, just crystal balled Dylan Lonergan, who's the number 9 QB in the 2023 recruiting class, number 93rd player overall nationally to go to the Alabama Crimson Tide to go along with Eli Holstein. Now we're going to have 2 Elite 11 quarterbacks in the 2023 recruiting class. So guess what, guys? It's about to get a lot more crowded. He hasn't committed yet, but when Steve Wiltfong releases a crystal ball, it's going to happen within 2 days typically, and I believe his accuracy rate's around 94%. So I definitely fully expect that to happen. So what's your take on just piling up the QBs, Joey?
I don't understand what we're going to do with them.
Exactly.
I mean, Ty Simpson, Moreau, we got Bryce Young. I mean, I know we're building for the future, but Eli Holstein, I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess it's a good thing. It's a good problem to have. We had this.
It is.
This ain't the first time, but we had this problem. Coker, Blake Sims, Jalen Hurts.
We've never had this problem at this extent, in my opinion. And when you're talking about Bryce will be gone, we already know that. He's going to the NFL, guys. We already know that. So take him out of the equation. We've never had four scholarship players all this young, as a problem. Now we've had, you're talking about redshirt sophomore, redshirt sophomore. It's going to be redshirt sophomore, I believe, and then 2 true freshmen. I mean, somebody's got to go somewhere at some point. And look, I know a lot of Alabama fans will criticize me for this. I'm not the biggest Jalen Milroe fan like a lot of people are. I look well beyond the spring game and the hype like that. So I'll tell you guys that right off the bat, which I know I'll get a little bit of hate on, but yeah. And do you mind if I bring up a comment and respond to it real quick?
Yeah. Do you think, from Nick Saban Jr., do you think we get Peter Woods? He looks like he's leaning towards Clemson.
He's going to Clemson. He's not coming to Alabama, in my opinion. Strongly. I would put a lot on him. He's going to Clemson. We dropped the ball on Peter Woods big time. This is the first time in a long time I can say that Nick Saban let a player completely out of his hand. This all started, I don't know if you guys know the backstory on this, but this started in January. Pete Golden and Freddie Roach, are his recruiters essentially. Freddie Roach has stayed pretty much in contact with him for a long time, has been. But the lack of Pete Golden contact is what I heard kind of dropped the ball, and Peter Woods kind of made it kind of known that Alabama kind of slowed down on him, and it really irritated him. And when they slowed down, Clemson made notice, and they pushed their efforts. And you know what? It is what it is. You can't get them all, and you can't be on top of these guys 24/7 all the time. So you're going to have one slip, but it's a shame that you let Peter Wood slip out of Alabaster, Thompson High School, where we just got Tony Mitchell. You know what I mean? That's where Jeremiah Alexander is from, who we just got last year. And plenty of other players have come from there. We got another one from there this year. I can't remember his name. But you know what I mean? Like, Alabaster is a place where we get players, and we completely, in my opinion, dropped the ball on this one. And when he commits to Clemson, and it's tomorrow, by the way, let me bring up my schedule, because I do know that they are committing tomorrow. There's 3 really big commits, actually. Let me see here. Peter Woods commits at 7:45 Eastern time tomorrow. I'm assuming that's PM. So we'll know by tomorrow, and you'll have your answer. But I fully expect him to go to Clemson, 100%, because it's rare that you have a recruit voice his opinion about the lack of recruiting from a team, and that's kind of what's happened here. So,
well, after tonight, if you still want some more Alabama football news and some more, I guess, college football news, because he is the SEC super fan, make sure tonight you go check out the Stingray Show on Tile 100.9. He's got former Alabama player, Coach Lorenzo World, coming on the Stingray Show. Of course, you got his man, Heath Hopkins. Go check him out. Stingray's our boy, host of the 3rd and 3. Show is pretty much going to come back pretty soon, I guess, when Clemson Tom stops being a dad. And right now, true story, Clemson Tom's son. Congratulations, Clemson Tom's son. He's over there in Ireland, going to Germany, hitting the golf courses, becoming the next Tiger Woods. So I don't know where Clemson Tom's getting all this money from, but they're traveling the world, hitting up golf courses. So good job to Clemson Tom and his son is Xander. But make sure you check out the Stingray Show tonight, 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern on Tower 100.9. And let's go ahead and check out the chat room one more time. It's more eHarmony stuff. It's like, let's say here we got great.
Lorenzo Ward, that's my time,
great,
86 to 89.
Great. All Alabama fans need to talk trash all off season after bans. Okay, whatever. Yes, we dropped the ball. Peter Woods playing the championship game. I did.
Yeah. Peter Woods, he's special.
Oh, speaking of the Godfather, did you know Sonny died again? If you haven't seen the Godfather,
no.
Have you seen the Godfather?
I've seen it. Yeah, no, I've seen the Godfather.
You know the guy who plays Sonny?
Yeah, he died.
Yeah, he died.
I can't keep up with that stuff, man. I'm too busy on Twitter trying to
keep
keep
it
up
just
with recruiting.
Happened. It's not like it happened.
Okay, it just happened. Okay, I got you. So after
Alabama wins the Natty because Georgia fans talk trash off.
Man, Georgia is like
I have not met a bad Georgia fan. Now I do understand that Georgia fans get upset because Alabama whooped that, so much. But I understand, because as an Alabama fan, we went 6 years with Auburn fans talking trash and everything. Yeah, but Auburn fans don't have no class. So for that, I understand. But Alabama fans don't really talk a lot of trash. We're just happy.
Do.
We don't.
Yes, we do.
What? Name one Alabama fan that talks trash.
You. Oh man, well, you do. Come on now.
No, I don't.
Fans, to some extent, we're just so used to winning all the time. We just stopped conversating about it. That's all it is.
Here's what we got from Brock here. Hold on 1 second. I can't believe we are about to lose Peter Woods. This is going to sting, but I hope we flip him.
And that's the key is even if he commits to Clemson tomorrow, that doesn't mean he's inked it. That's not till December when you're talking about early recruiting signing day. Then, February's final. So, man, he was 82. That's no surprise there.
Yeah.
Godfather. I mean, yeah. But yeah, man, I think the big thing that people should be talking about is Dylan Lonergan. Like I said, coming out, him being crystal ball to Alabama is such a big surprise to me because how stacked our room already is. You know, everybody out there listening, what's your take on Jalen Milroe? Because, you know, I'm like one of the few that I guess aren't just on this hype train with Jalen Milroe. But who knows?
Well, we got to hold that thought. Ladies and gentlemen, our first guest, legendary coach, former coach at Alabama. I'm not going to mention the time he coached 2 times at Auburn. I'm not going to mention that. I'm not going to mention the time he was the coordinator with his brother when they went undefeated in 93. I'm not going to mention that. I am going to mention he's one of Clemson's greatest all-time head coaches.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Tommy Bowden. Tommy, how you doing today?
I need to be on your show more often just to hear that. I feel relevant again.
How you doing today, Tommy?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you. Hang on 1 second, please. Please.
He's got to attend to his kids.
Yeah.
There it is. I knew what was going on. You have to tell me I have kids. I know
Kids are
exactly
dull.
what you're doing. Anyways, first of all, it's nice to meet you, Coach. Obviously, I've actually talked about you quite a bit. So I do have a question for you, though. I'm not trying to start off and take over Joey's position here, but I do have a question for you. I'm sure you're keeping up with Clemson football.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any overreaction to Clemson only losing 3 games last year? And it seems like, in my opinion, everybody writing them off and all of a sudden they're no longer relevant.
Well, you know, they had Dabo set the standard so high. It's kind of like Nick Saban. He doesn't win the national championship. It's a little bit different, but very, very similar. Dabo's standard was so high, and his expectations are higher. I think that's what the people don't understand. But again, a little bit of quarterback issues last year, and the type of offense he runs, that's a critical issue. And to win 10 games going through a little adversity at quarterback is a pretty impressive job.
Yeah, I mean, if you tell me that Alabama loses 3 games, I'm definitely not complaining. It's not really going to be that bad of a time as a fan. But sometimes us fans, especially Clemson, getting used to it, you know, you get spoiled in a sense of seeing the wins constantly. And the turnover from Deshaun Watson to Trevor Lawrence was almost seamless, you know, adding Kelly Bryant for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Joey, anything?
Yeah, we got another guest coming in. Ladies and gentlemen, he's the man that kept our hopes alive in 1999. Now, quarterback Booty. I love that name.
Oh, Marvin Constant.
Quarterback Booty from LSU. He's the hardest hitting man ever to play at the University of Alabama, the one and only. Marvin Constant. Marvin, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good, fellas. How are you?
Doing good. How's that knee?
Hey, man, the knee's coming along quite nicely, man. I don't want to talk to y'all. Y'all got the world famous Coach Bowden on here. Hey, man, listen, I got to say it, man. Your dad was one of my favorite coaches. It hurt my heart to have to tell him, no, I didn't want to go to Florida State. I was going to Alabama instead. But
hey, it hurt your heart. It killed him.
Oh, gosh.
It killed him. He's in heaven. He's in heaven now thinking about you.
Now you won't be able to sleep for a week.
You sent him to an early grave.
Oh, man.
Tommy, Coach Bowden, I got a question. It's like last time I called your father Bobby. If he was here, he would slap me again. But Coach Bowden, did y'all ever try to recruit Tim?
Oh, yeah. We had him up for a visit, and at that particular time, Dabo was recruiting him. His father went to Florida, and we were recruiting another Elite 11 quarterback named Carl Parker, who we had committed. And I talked to him on the phone several times, came up to a game, talked to him. But you can't, once a quarterback commits, they don't commit at the same place. So Carl was local. I tell you, it was not Carl Parker. It was, I forget the guy's name now. But anyway, we had one committed, and I said, Dabo, his father went to Florida. He's 40 miles away. I don't think we're going to get him. And sure enough, we didn't. But oh yeah, I remember recruiting him. He's very, just like he is now. He's very courteous, very polite. And he eventually would have said no, but we recruited him. He's a tough sell.
Dabo has done a great job at Clemson, though. I will say that. Yeah, the things that he's done, nobody thought he would do at Clemson. He was the receiver coach at Alabama when I was there. So he's always been a great coach, great guy, very personable. And that's one of the things that guys have always liked about him. And I think that's what draws so many people to him. When you look at him versus a Nick Saban, when somebody asked me, a lot of people ask me when their kids are being recruited, if you had to choose between Clemson and Alabama, where would you send your kid? And I have to give my honest answer. I love Alabama. But if I had to choose between Dabo and Nick, Coach Sweeney or Coach Saban, I would send mine to Coach Sweeney any day of the week, because it's two different approaches. Whereas Coach Saban, it's a business approach. With Coach Sweeney, it's a family approach. And I go to Clemson quite often, and every time I'm there, it's always very personable. And that's one of the things I've always liked about him, and that's what makes him so successful.
Yeah, you described him very well. Those two guys, there's no doubt. You know who's in charge of Clemson, and you know who's in charge of Alabama. But their mode of operation is entirely different. Their personalities are different. One guy smiles, the other guy doesn't. But I can remember I was looking for a coach, a guy named Rick Stockstill, who's the head coach at Middle Tennessee State, or Middle Tennessee, I think it's called now, was my receiver coach left. And I was looking for a receiver coach, and I had coached Dabo at Alabama when I coached receivers. And he sent me his resume, and I knew him anyway because I had coached him. And his recruiting resume, it's about 3 or 4 pages long. He sent me a list of everybody who's recruited. And the name of the game is the team of the best players. And that probably was one of the reasons. One of the big reasons was his ability to recruit. And the personality that you just described, that personality is what got him the Clemson job, along with his recruiting skills.
Mm-hmm.
So, Marvin, that's gonna be the last time you ever interrupt me.
No, it won't be. I'll just mute you. There's a new sheriff in town. Anyways, Marvin, while I got you on here, man, first of all, it's nice meeting you, clearly. I want to know your thoughts on the Alabama defense this year.
Why does everybody ask me that? Listen,
well, it's for an obvious reason, man. You know why I'm asking you that.
Yeah, well, show us those Fire Pete Golden t-shirts again.
It's not just that. I want to know the honest opinion that from somebody that actually played.
I made a shirt that said Fire Pete. I did do that, and I wore it, and I put it on my social media. The main reason why, Coach Bowden, he will agree with this, I can assure you. The reason why the majority of these kids are playing football is to change their circumstances. Yeah. Nobody's out there doing this at this high level for fun. They're doing it to change their circumstances and their family circumstances. And if you look at Alabama's defensive production, the past 3 years since Pete has been a defensive coordinator, it has done this. Every year, the number of first-round draft picks off that defense has gone downhill to this year. We had 0. Last year, we had 1. Several of my friends that coach in the NFL and that are NFL scouts, we regularly talk about this. What Alabama defense has been putting on film has not been helping them to make the money that these kids should make. If you've had the number 1 recruiting class for 12 years straight, you can't say we're young and we don't have the talent. That does not fly. If you've had the number 1 recruiting class for 12 years straight, that means you should be stockpiled with talent. Yeah. And it often looks like they're confused, they're out of place. And the fact that we lose to a Texas A&M team with 2 true freshman offensive linemen and a backup quarterback, that should tell you everything you need to know. When have you ever seen Alabama's defense in the past 15 years give up the amount of points that we've given up the past 3 years?
No, and I agree. And I'll be honest with you, I got a lot of heat from Alabama fans. I don't have an Alabama channel. I have a college football channel, but obviously I have a lot of Alabama fans. I pointed out that I've never seen so many misalignments from the linebacker level in the A&M game. And another thing that really had, maybe I'm wrong on this, I don't know football like you guys do, that had me really steaming in that game was the fact that Dalcourt and Chris Owens cannot pick up a blitz to save their life, in my opinion. In that game, and guess what, guys? The first time my wife ever went to an Alabama game, she surprised me with tickets to go to A&M as we live in San Antonio. So we drive up there. She's like, is this going to be an easy win for you guys? I'm looking at the film before us going up there, and I'm like, this should definitely be not an easy win, but a definite win. I was
All
in the
right.
middle of that.
Right. So here's the question. Okay, so I'm going to ask Coach Bowden this question. Now, when I played at Alabama, Ellis Johnson was our defensive coordinator. You know, we had just came off probation. So my recruiting class was the second full recruiting class under Dubose. Ellis Johnson knew we were a young defense, but he knew we were very talented. So instead of him giving us this entire thick playbook, he trimmed that thing down to what he knew we could run, and we could run well. We ended up beating Florida twice that year, winning the SEC championship. We should have won the national championship that year. But he understood that, hey, if I got these young kids that are freshmen and sophomores, but they are some serious athletes, let me cater to them. And it often looks like Alabama with Pete, he's throwing so much at them that they're confused. If you know they're struggling with alignment and adjustments, dial it back and let your athletes make plays.
Yeah. Go ahead,
There's
Coach.
no
Sorry.
doubt what you just said. You know, it's not what you know as a coach; it's what they know. And a guy like Ellis Johnson, I remember him well. Had a great reputation, very successful, very good coach. But he did his forte or his resume or his reputation was keeping it simple. Let good athletes play. Don't confuse them. As being a defensive player, the old saying, "He who hesitates is lost." You can't hesitate on defense. You better react fast. Now, I will say this, knowing who runs the show at Alabama on defense, whatever Pete Golding does, it goes through a channel. There's one more level of approval that he has to go through to get it on the field. So, you know, they probably, a lot of coaches, offensively and defensively, either Thursday night or Friday, sit down with a head coach and go over the game plan, offensive call sheet, defensive call sheet. So the complexity of that defense, I think it's one of the reasons Nick's been successful. But get some players that have a difficulty comprehending it, like you say. You slow the reaction time, a little bit of confusion, a little doubt, a little indecision. Defensively, you're lost if you do that. And I think what you said was very accurate. They had a problem with that last year.
But is it not the defensive coordinator's job to prepare them during the week for what's coming on the weekend?
Defensive coordinator, you mean Nick Saban or Pete Golding? Which one?
I mean Pete Golding.
What are you talking about?
Well, he's also the linebacker coach. So
Yeah.
Linebacker ties it all. That ties the front and the secondary together. That's no doubt the key position, and those are the players that, like you said, the linebacker communicates the secondary in the front, gets everybody lined up, and makes the calls. The lineman shifts, the motions, and all that. So any confusion there is kind of like the center on offense who makes the calls, run blocking schemes and pass protections. You're going to have problems.
right, but that was my whole argument throughout these past few years. If you say that they're confused and their reaction time is slow because of that, dial it back. Give the athletes a chance to make plays. Because if you have the athletes on defense that they have, there's no reason offense should be moving the ball up and down the field.
Worst thing you can do is confuse a great athlete. You said that creates problems.
Read and react. If you're thinking before you read and react, it's too late.
You're lost.
Talking about great athletes in Clemson, Isaiah Simmons. My gosh, the linebacker there, freakish athlete. He's one guy I followed at Clemson. But now I have to ask you, man, like, in my opinion, I feel like this is the make or break year. Like, there's no, like, you bring these guys back, it seems like they're healthy. There could be more to it than I know about, obviously, as an insider for you guys. But it seems like, in my opinion, this is Pete Golden's make or break year, in my opinion. You have to be in the top 5 at this point. Just my opinion.
Well, there's going to be pressure on him, like you said, and their standard is so high. Not only wins and losses, but defensive performance. Nick Saban's history, his background, his defense, that's where he personally gets involved. I think he coaches the safeties and corners and switches back and back. He's one of the few head coaches that, a lot of head coaches will mess around with a quarterback, but he actively coaches a position and is very involved in game planning. So the standard's been set, and they do need to be really productive.
Yes, the standard has definitely been set, and I think going into year 4 for him, the expectations are going to be extremely high because, again, you're bringing back Will Anderson, you're bringing back Dallas Turner, you're bringing back so many guys defensively that you have no excuses at this point to say why your defense is underperforming. If you look at Alabama's defense last season, midway through the season, we were 10th in the SEC in sacks. How was that even possible? We were at the bottom of the list in pass defense, rush defense. We finished outside of the top 10 statistically in many categories defensively this past year. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. And, I talked to a lot of the old guys that played, in the past, and we were actually talking about the 2011, the 2009, all those defenses that averaged, giving up 7 and 8 points a game. 2013, same thing. It's been a consistent staple of the Alabama football team. But these past 3 years, that staple has not been there.
Now, one thing that has happened, especially in the SEC, is that people, the Ole Misses, the Texas A&Ms, the Floridas, Tennessee, Georgia, whoever, they have had to chase Alabama. And the only way you chase Alabama and close the gap on Alabama is to increase your talent level. And the talent level at those schools from 2009, 2011, 2012, of an A&M, of a Georgia, of a Florida, of a Tennessee, they've really improved their talent level. And I think it's made, unfortunately, they've created their own monster, Alabama's, that they've set the standard so high. That's why Philip Fulmer, Tommy Tuberville, Mark Richt, you go on down the line of coaches that aren't there that couldn't keep that standard up. And the coaching carousel changes at those. I think somebody told me the other day, Nick Saban has lost 25 or 26 games, and there's been 26 different head coaches, I think, in the Western Division at those schools. So, other schools have improved the talent level, which has made it more difficult.
Yes, the schools have improved their talent levels, but prime example, if you look at this year's national champion, University of Georgia, the University of Georgia statistically did what Alabama normally does defensively year in and year out. The University of Georgia did that. So when people say to me, the evolution of the spread offense, you can no longer play defense the way Alabama used to play defense, Georgia just proved you wrong on that. Did they not throughout the entire season? Statistically, they did everything that people said couldn't be done that Alabama has consistently done the past 12 years prior to Pete Golding. Now, what was the catalyst to this success? Who is their head coach? Kirby Smart. What did Kirby do? He brought one person out of the booth and put him on the field who was a game changer for him. Will Muschamp. That energy that Will Muschamp feeds his players as a defensive player, and you're talking about young kids, they feed off that energy of those coaches. They feed off the energy of that defensive coordinator, that D-line coach. They feed off all of that energy. The energy that Will and Kirby brings to their players, it is ridiculous. And if you look at Pete doesn't really give that kind of energy on the field. So, and me being a former player, that age, I know you feed off your coach.
Well, football is a game of emotion, energy, enthusiasm, effort. And if you want that, you need to coach that way. And you mentioned Will Muschamp, being a fan of his and being around him as a coach, trying to hire him in the past. That's how he coaches. Kirby Smart the same way. And I'm sure those two guys, it's head coach can demand it, but all of a sudden you get another guy like you, a clone, a Kirby Smart clone of Will Muschamp. Again, the enthusiasm is contagious and people catch it.
Oh, yeah, when he gets mad. He gets, what I tell you about interrupting me, Marvin?
Hold on, Joey. Hold on. I was the biggest proponent of hiring Will Muschamp last year when he became available. I said the best thing Alabama can do is bring in Will Muschamp. And a few weeks later, Georgia brings him in as an analyst. I'm like, no! I was like, come on, man. If you bring in Will Muschamp, you think about it. He's familiar with Saban. They won a national championship together at LSU. And I don't care what age Will Muschamp is. That energy is still the same.
No, you're right. That's one. I'm sure that's what Kirby recognized.
We got some comments from the audience. This has been up there for a while now, but Marvin kept talking. That was you, Marvin. That's what he did with Will Anderson. Saban said about Will Anderson when he was a freshman that he doesn't have a figure out a way, but he is good that you have to let him learn on the fly. Okay.
So basically he's saying let athletes be athletes.
Okay. If Pete Golding doesn't improve, Nick Saban needs to fire his butt. We got ladies and gentlemen, we got an evangelist.
Agree.
We have an event on. I learned that lesson last week with Mr. Houston. Let's not cuss. Amen. That is what so men have been preaching
on Tuesday nights.
We got a lot of. Okay, so from the Bama Standard, your people are on here. People are arguing that the defense got better all as seasons went on, and forget the rankings of the Bama offense Alabama played. Okay, my point is this: you went to this guy took Alabama to 2 national championships. We got to cut the man some slack. This is going to be Pete Golden's career. We got some great players coming in. I think you need to go ahead and I like Real Muschamp too, not because I like him as a coach. I like when he gets angry and goes and just all that crap.
Hold on.
He's entertaining.
1 second, Joey. Hold on. You said we have great players coming in. So what about all the last 12 #1 recruiting classes in a row?
Exactly. We have great players there.
Look, my bottom line is I'm trying to be optimistic.
Well, I'm just looking facts. People say, hold on. When people say we have great players coming in, it's like you're saying we have a stable full of mules, and now we're bringing in, these thoroughbreds. So we don't already have thoroughbreds.
You're putting words in my mouth.
But when you say we have great players coming in, it implies that the players that are currently on the roster are not so good. But correct me if I'm wrong. Don't we have more 4 and 5 stars at every position in every other school in the country?
Yeah, that's 100% true. Yeah. Now, Joey, I have to disagree 100% with you on this, man. Sorry.
Don't disagree with him putting words in my mouth. I'm being optimistic. I'm saying this not fire this man right off the bat. We went to 2 national championship games. Nick Saban knows what we have talked about this before, and the video's on YouTube. Everybody, you can go check it out. Nick Saban knows what he's doing. He thinks Pete Gold is a good defensive coordinator. If Nick Saban says good defensive coordinator, who am I to disagree with him? I disagree with him when he didn't put Jalen Hurts in the national championship game. But I'm not going to question Nick Saban.
Let Marvin speak. Let Marvin speak his mind. Come on.
This is why Nick keeps him around. Pete is a A1 recruiter. That is what Pete is good at. But you have to be able to mold the talent when you get it there. Okay, if you're an NFL coach, you're not so big on molding talent because when you come to the NFL, you better be ready to play. But in college, you still have to coach and mold the talent. He's great at getting in there, but what is he doing once they get there? And if you look at the last 2 years, yes, we went to 2 national championships. We won one with Steve Sarkisian as our offensive coordinator, and that man will outscore almost anybody you put him up against. But without Steve, we had Bill O'Brien, who doesn't put up as many points as Steve. And you saw a little bit of an imbalance. And, the crack started to show, in the well. We started to see the water seeping out of there. And the closer and closer we got to the national championship game, the more and more I was like, this is not going to go quite like we think it's going to go.
Yeah, and Marvin, I got a question. I got one more question, Joey. I'm about to mute you.
Go ahead with your question.
All right. So with that being said, what's your thought on Todd Grantham coming into Alabama as an analyst from Florida?
I would have much rather Will Muschamp came to Alabama.
Yeah, of course.
Me personally.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, okay, here's the thing. Not trying to be mean. What is Grantham's track record when you look at him as a coach? Does he really stand out as to say, hey, he's one of the top 3 or top 5 defensive coordinators of the last 10 years?
No, he creates a lot of turnovers. That's about it.
Does he warrant you saying he's one of the top 3?
No,
top
absolutely not. No, absolutely.
Exactly. Not. Will Muschamp.
Yeah. I agree with that. If you had to give me a choice, I'll be honest with you, Alabama fans, I'm bringing in Will Muschamp right now. But, that's not the situation we're in, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But Todd's probably going to be in a position where it's probably going to be all analysis. You probably won't have anything to do with motivation, probably have to do with their creating any kind of enthusiasm, camaraderie, or unity on the team. It's going to be simply evaluating. It might even be evaluating high school talent, but I imagine most of his job responsibility at Alabama is going to be taking the opponent's film a week in advance, going through it, and writing a report up from Nick from an X and O standpoint. But to Marvin's point there, as far as being able to motivate and enthusiasm and all that, Todd's he won't have a role in that at Alabama, I'm sure.
And as a kid who's 18, 19, 20, they feed off that coach's personality, that coach's motivation, that coach's determination. That's what they feed off.
Hey, let me say this before I have to take off. I've got to leave, but I've been out of the coaching circle for a while. But if I were to go back into coaching, if I have enough money for my staff, I'm hiring Marvin. I'm taking my money and taking that biggest pool I got and trying to get him on my staff and say, go sick them. Marvin's a guy with your players. With your players, you don't want to say, whoa, you want to stay sick them. And with him, you don't have to. You don't have to say sick him. He goes. But I've got to take off. Enjoyed it, and y'all appreciate having me on. Do it again once the season starts.
Coach, before you go, to show you that we're now a bunch of Auburn haters. How's your brother?
I heard Auburn brought up.
How's your brother Terry?
Terry's doing good. You know, ULM to win one game last year. He won 5. He's got to play Alabama. I think he opens with Alabama. Then he's got LSU. Then he's got Texas before he gets into his season. So his AD loves him because he's going to make a lot of money for him. But he might not have enough guys on his roster when he finishes with those teams.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest coaches of all time, the one and only Tommy Bowden. Tommy, thank you for coming on.
Enjoy. Good seeing you, Marvin. Y'all have
good seeing you too. Enjoyed it, Coach. Thank you, sir.
Notice that he said good seeing you, Marvin. He didn't say good seeing you, Joey.
Well, you weren't one of the most prominent recruits in the country when you came out of high school. You didn't have every coach in the country dreaming about having you on their roster, Joey. I'm sorry.
The only roster you're making, Joey's on Lord of the Rings, so hush.
That wasn't even funny. Don't even laugh at that.
Referring back to last week's goblin joke.
Marvin, before we let you, do you think the main reason we lost to Georgia for the Natty was because the next man up already had plans to leave Alabama?
I think a lot of those young receivers, they didn't prepare during the season. You know, one of the things about football, you got to prepare from day one to the end of the season. If you don't prepare appropriately, when your number is called, it's hard to go out and do it if you haven't been repping that throughout the season, whether it's with the 1s, the 2s, the scout team, whoever. You got to rep it whoever you're with. And especially at receiver, it's a timing issue and a preparation issue, and it just looked like they were not prepared. So when our top 2 receivers go down, those young guys just were not ready. Now, if you rewind a few years back and you look at those young guys, when we had Devontae, Judy, Ruggs, all those guys, when their number was called, they stepped up and they played big. Devontae Smith catches the game-winning touchdown in 17 national championship game. Freshman, boom. When their number was called, they were ready. That's because they put the work in from day one to be prepared for when their number was called. This group, I got a sense of entitlement with them, and they felt like, well, I ain't playing, so I'm just going to pout instead of preparing appropriately so that when their number was called, they could produce.
Yeah. All right, last question, Marvin, from Brock. Is actually making Marvin, what did you think about Ajay Hall in the Natty? Go ahead.
Ajay Hall. Again, when your number
Vagina Hall, Najee Hall, I don't care how you think about him.
When your number's called, you have to be ready to produce. And that's one of the things about it. A lot of people don't understand the pressure of being one of the top players in the country coming out of high school, because when you're giving those 5 stars, when you're giving this top 100, this top 50 rating, you got to show up once you get to school. It does no good for you to have all these ratings if you don't show up. And I think a lot of this hype and this social media gives a lot of these kids a sense of entitlement before they've actually earned it. Back when I played, you had to earn what you got, you know. So coming in as a true freshman, yes, I was rated, one of the top players in the country. I knew, that I had every award that a player could want coming out of high school, but I also knew when I got to Alabama, I had to prove who I was. So that's why I made it a point to rough up Chris Samuels, Sean Alexander, and all these guys day one to show them that, hey, Those stars didn't mean anything. I'm going to show you who I really am. So, and I think that's where a lot of these kids, they lose that hunger and that desire because they're Instagram famous. So they have that sense of entitlement. So they don't feel like they got to put the work in because they got hundreds of thousands of followers and I'm that guy. No, you still have to put the work in.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you what, Nick Satan, you have you have fired up the chat room. Ladies and gentlemen, he's not only the hardest hitting mofo to ever hit the field on the University of Alabama, but ladies and gentlemen, he's got a new hit show on Touchdown Alabama magazine, and he just left.
Oh, he's back.
And he's back.
Got that. What did you say?
As
Joe?
I said, you better not do that again.
Come on, Joey.
Saying, hey, will you hush? I'm trying to do this right. As I was saying, not only is he the hardest hitting man at the University of Alabama, I already told him this up. He's also an author, physical and mental fitness at 40 plus strong. Ladies and gentlemen, you will have to pay for it, even though you've known Marvin for maybe 2 or 3 years. He gives free books to everybody else, but he made me pay for it, even though I never read it. Ladies and gentlemen, you can order your copy right now on Amazon. I'll go to 40plusstrong.com. Also, his new hit show on the Touchdown Alabama magazine, the Bama Standard, used to be the Marvin Constant show, then turned into the Bama Standard, and then now he just off and running with the Touchdown Alabama magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, Marvin Constant, tell everybody else what else you're doing, and tell us how you left CTS and left me hanging.
I'm just staying out of harm's way. Yes, you can find us on Touchdown Alabama Magazine's channel every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. You can grab a copy of my book, Physical and Mental Fitness at 40 Plus on Amazon. It's there. I'm always available. You can follow me on social media. My IG is Constant45. I'm always available for questions. Hey, I'm a very personable guy, Joey.
Hey, tell your boy David Daniel next time he decides to do a show up.
Will do. I'll try my best.
But he looks like he's a guy you don't want to mess with. So be nice when you say it.
Those guys don't scare me. I'm not worried.
Joe, you're wearing sunglasses indoors. That's all I got to say.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm cool.
Where'd you get that hat from? You got that hat from Love's, from the truck stop?
Oh my God.
No, I got this hat from 40plusstrong.com. So won't you hush?
He bought $10 worth of 87 in a can of Vienna sausages, and they gave that hat for free.
There it is.
You're living proof that you're possible to live without a brain, Marvin. But it's okay. Marvin Constant, ladies and gentlemen, he's my favorite linebacker of all time. SEC national champion. Catch him out on Tuesday nights. And Marvin, we'll catch you later.
All right, man. It was a pleasure. Guys have a good evening.
You too.
Yes, sir. All right. So I hope you use a nice show. If you haven't subscribed, go to YouTube right now. Punch that like button. I'm telling you, I got kids to feed. You saw one kid trying to be on part of the show. He would not leave me alone. I was like, dude, I'm live. This is not recorded. I can't edit you out. He was like, well, I need this and that. And I was like, no, I need you to leave. Like outside?
Kids,
yes,
Joey.
outside. I'm putting these kids up for adoption. I don't care. Now, listen, Jonathan, before we go, you got to tell everybody you got 2 hit shows. You got, not only you doing this show, you're doing another show, another YouTube page. You're doing, your college football with Jonathan Lewis is taking off big time. So tell everybody, this is the best college football show on YouTube right now. Yeah. Tell everybody where they can find you.
College football with Jonathan Lewis on YouTube, and then at College FB Lewis as far as Twitter goes. That's pretty much about it. Talk college football, not just Alabama football, but specifically I go into pretty in detail on recruiting. Me and Ty Hayes made a show a couple of days ago. You need to check out as far as recruiting goes. And yeah, other than that. And by the way, did you guys hear about Keelan Robinson pawning or selling his rings on Pawn Stars, the show?
Yeah, I just read that.
Oh, but either way, it is what it is.
You can come on and say, hey, hang on. Dave is on here. You can come on and say, hey.
What's up? No, it's fine. We're already done.
Well, I mean, you can leave. I know you got a show to do, but I mean, I want to.
I ain't got another show to do.
Come on.
I'm DOW. I'm done, bro. I got schoolwork I got to eventually finish.
I got educations. I got to do investigating license, and I got to jump on it. I hate that crap.
Yeah. So let's see here. Let me scroll through these comments. Yeah, Bama Animal. So I can never keep up with who's Waylon and Spencer. As far as I got to remember the names, who's Bama Animal and all that stuff. So obviously I know who Spencer is. Clearly it's in the name. I wish everybody else would do that. And I know Bama Standards, obviously Justin. But yeah, sold for $60,000. I guess I'm putting stuff on the screen now. Soon Joey's going to be useless.
I'm dealing with David right now. So I'm trying to tell him, come on. Just we'll talk a couple minutes and then we can head out.
Just have him on next week.
No, just say hello. It's David. It's David.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
This guy was a walk-on and started in the 2000 season.
I know who people are. Joey, you should be on the funniest home videos. He is the funniest home video. That's a joke. We can tell that you've never read it. Yeah.
You can go back to Party City where you belong.
Man, I'm wearing a Feliz Navidad shirt. I don't want to hear nothing. That's all. Oh, man.
You got two.
Yeah, David Daniel. All right, so Bama Animals, Waylon. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Waylon. Now I'll remember Bama Animal Waylon. I knew, like I said, I knew who Spencer was. Let's see here. Now we're just going to sit here in silence because of
I'm telling him, like, come on, we got 2 more minutes.
Joey can't make an executive decision here. So it was his SEC championship ring, referring back to Keelan Robinson. I believe it was the Rose Bowl, right? 2020 that we won, and then the national championship ring. So 3 rings for $60,000, basically 20 a pop. The players don't pay for those rings, do they? I don't know if you guys know. Justin, you would know that because since you talk to the players all the time and you're an alum, the players pay for those rings or no? Because I'm interested in knowing that did he get
waiting
gifted?
for him to talk through the screen?
Yeah, through the comments. No, so Waylon said no. I'm assuming he's referring to the question I just asked.
They don't pay for
him. They don't pay for him. So basically he just got $60,000, I'd say, because he'll pay taxes on that because that is a capital gain. So essentially he made about $45,000 in his pocket. He wouldn't have been able to do that, by the way, if he was still in college and the NIL wasn't around. Keep that in mind. So,
look, my man Nick Satan. Hold on. Bama Animal, will it be on CTS Sports Room again? I'll make sure to be there. Nick Satan, you're always welcome to become on our show. We love trolls. We'll hurt your feelings. I'm going to let you know. We'll hurt your feelings. We'll make you cry.
I have no feelings, so you can't hurt mine.
Yeah. I mean,
my
own. Yeah, we're married. My wife took my feelings away a long time ago.
Exactly. I'm emotionally unavailable for everything because I have none.
Let me see if I can get David on the phone because we got to go.
You put a lot of effort into this last couple of minutes.
Hey, David, how you doing? Can you hear me? David, can you hear me?
Yeah, Waylon.
Okay, hey, listen, we're gonna close the show up. Do you want to go ahead and schedule for next week?
Man, that'll be awesome, man. I overslept, man. I just got home from work. Yeah, that'll be perfect, man.
All right. Just to let everybody know, David Daniel, 2000 defensive lineman. He actually played with Marvin Constant. So, yeah, we have your old teammate Marvin Constant on and Tommy Bowden. But we really want to talk to you because you had an inspiration story of being a walk-on and then starting in 2000 season. So we really are looking for you. So
okay, man, that'll be perfect, man.
All right, awesome. So David Daniel, we got it booked. David Daniel next week. Everybody else, David, I'm gonna let you go. I gotta close the show out. So I'm looking forward to talking to you, my man.
I'll stay in touch with you, Joe.
All right, 10-4. All right, so that's David Daniel. We got him next week. That's how we do things. We just book him.
There you go.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Tommy Bowden, thank you for coming on. Marvin Constant, thank you for coming on. And remember, win or lose, Auburn fans, if I say anything bad about you, it's intentional. And we are out.